say, okay, how is Allah, the creator of the universe, helping you go about this? It's like, what, you guys are teaming up with communists and a bunch of brainwashed college students and gays, queers for Palestine, and this is your group, and you go around the entire world whining like babies after slaughtering a bunch of people and taking a bunch of hostages and then claiming that you're the victims. And it's just like endless whining and crying. Oh, UN, come rescue us. UN, come help us. Oh, court, come help us. Oh, all you nations, come help us. Will you help us? Will you help us get those Jews? You guys got 49 Muslim countries and Allah on your side and the final prophet with the final revelation, the final book. You've got it all. And you're running around the world like little beggars. Please, will you help us with those 15 million Jews on the entire planet? Please, we only have 2 billion people. They've got 15 million. Can you please help us destroy them? Come on.
Yeah, let's just quickly discuss what these guys have been up to. David Wood and Apostate Prophet. First of all, one is an atheist, one is a Christian. So that dispels the myth that Zionism is connected to Judaism. In fact, both of them are Zionists, as it became very clear in this 2-hour rant. But I just listened to the first 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So let's just quickly look, because there were so many lies told in the first 30 minutes that I don't think it's even worth going further. It's like when somebody explains to you a mathematical problem and they start by saying, 1 plus 1 is 3, and therefore, so you don't have to continue to listen to the story, because it's complete, it's bogus. So why is it bogus? I just want to share with you, because it's important that we understand the mind of an Islamophobe. And I'm not somebody who throws the word Islamophobia around, but in this case, it is both of them are motivated purely by hatred and by animosity. In fact, both of them are mentally very, very challenged people. They've admitted to that themselves. And so their YouTube channel, in fact, is self-therapy. It's the way that they conduct therapy is by getting likes and clicks. And sort of that reassures them. And, but unfortunately, the type of crowd that's going to give you clicks and likes for spilling hatred and spreading lies is not a very high-quality crowd. And that's why probably you won't find any of the crowd being in any way a recognized, accomplished person in the world. So quickly look at the lies. Number one lie is that it's the Muslims versus the Jews. Now, actually, I need to correct that, because out of 49 Muslim countries, the OIC, the Organization of the Islamic Conference, they actually refused to impose any sanctions on Israel. That's a fact. So you need to why didn't you not state that fact? So the OIC have condemned the genocide, but have not taken any actions against Israel. So in other words, Turkey is still keeping the oil pipeline open to Israel. Jordan and the UAE are still keeping the land bridge open to supply food supplies and other supplies to Israel. And Egypt is still keeping the Rafah border sealed so that the Palestinians are not able to get any food through that border post. So the Muslims, it's not really the Muslims versus the Jews. The other thing is those on the side of the Palestinians are not only Muslims. In fact, most of the damage done on the side of the anti-Zionist movement have been done by non-Muslims. So, for example, the case that the South African government, my country, took to the International Court of Justice, we're not a Muslim government. This is not a Muslim country. This is an atheist and an Christian country. And we took it to the International Court of Justice. So that's also a lie. So it's not a Muslim versus Christian thing. And then if you look at all the anti-Zionist Jews like Norman Finkelstein that have taken the strongest of lines against Israel. If you look at the newly elected MP in Britain, George Galloway, he's not a Muslim, he's a Catholic. If you look at all the South American countries, Latin American countries that sever diplomatic ties with Israel, they're not Muslim countries, they're Christian countries. So we need to debunk this lie of this. You see, because they have this existing fantasy that there's this great, horrible Muslim monster in the world that's trying to eat up the whole world. Now, one thing I can agree with him is that there are some Muslim agents like the Saudis, were created by Britain. There's this Wahhabi Islam, ISIS Islam, Al-Qaeda Islam. But this is an Islam that is manufactured by the CIA. And this Wahhabi Islam in Saudi Arabia is manufactured by the British colonialists in the 1800s. You see, and right now there's a couple of internet personalities, Daniel Hakikachu, that's the one thing that they say that makes sense, that are actually playing a very suspicious role in spreading this nonsense. We don't know these people. They're internet personalities. They've got no standing. And if they fool 100,000 Muslims into thinking they're genuine, that doesn't mean a damn thing. The Muslims are 2 billion people, and I have traveled around, and I know the Muslims are not people of hatred and violence. Not so. I have a lot of disagreements. I have a lot of videos that I critique Muslims, but I can tell you now, your thing is built on a complete lie, and like I say, just based on pure fantasy. And the final point I want to make is that they say God has forsaken the Palestinians, basically, right? That's the point that they're making. God has forsaken the Palestinians and Islam. So where's your God? Where's your Allah? Well, we don't look at the children that Israel killed. That doesn't win a war. We don't look at the number of buildings that were demolished. I mean, I could ask you, why did God help the Taliban against the United States? I don't agree with the Taliban. There seems to be a case where the Muslims scored a victory. How many $10 billion worth of arms that you gave to the Taliban, and they're ruling Afghanistan. So, I mean, what was your war of 20 years about? So the thing with Palestine is God is definitely on the side of the Palestinians, and definitely Israel is the one that is losing this war. And what you are doing is you're counting the number of dead babies and children. That's not how wars are won. Or you're counting the number of buildings that have been demolished. That's not how wars are won. There's 1 million Israelis that left Israel since the 7th of October. The northern part of Israel, the Galilee, has been emptied of Israelis. The southern part of Israel has been emptied of Israelis, of Zionists, of settlers. And so that is a major victory, 1 million less Israelis. You've killed 30,000 Palestinians, your friends, right, which you supported in the genocide. But that has not deterred the Palestinians. They're still there. They're still there. And heaven forbid, even if they should kill all of them, they would have died one day, but they would come out as those who stood on the side of right. Because this story of Zionism, which you support, which you base on your Bible, is simply a colonial story. It's simply a story of people taking other people's property, taking other people's homes, taking them over by force, burning their villages, and making as if their property is your property. Whether it's a Jew, whether it's a Christian, whether it's a Muslim doing it, that's the story of Israel. And there is no victory for that type of criminality. And that is why we are seeing in the trends, those countries who support Israel, along with Israel, are going down. You have to read the real research. Don't try and run on emotion. Read the real research. The real research is stating that the economies in the West are shrinking. The economies in the East, which are coincidentally the countries that are neutral or more pro the Palestinians, who have voted in favor of the Palestinians at the UN, their economies are growing. You see, their populations are growing. So populations in the West are shrinking, and you've got to replace your population with brown people coming from non-Christian countries or from different Christian countries. And so if you look at the real stats, then in 50 years' time, you should come back, or you can even look at the extrapolations now, and you can already see what will the world look like in 50 years' time. And it doesn't favor Israel and the West.